Brilliant. So hello everyone, it's Jade Pluck here, as Jackie said, from Virtually Anywhere, and I know some of you were on the part one call. This is part two, where we're really going to look at how to find new clients on LinkedIn, uh, what to say in groups and as status updates, because by doing that, it shows you the expert, and will get you those clients. And also, I'm just going to touch slightly on, following relevant companies. Once again, it's all about, getting great content there. But just going to kind of run through that with you as well. So, since the last session, just wanted to, make sure for those of you that are on it, if you started making changes to your profile, then great. If not, then once you've perhaps listened to this call, you could kind of come up with a bit of an action plan with things that you need to do over the coming weeks and months. As please remember, things with like LinkedIn, it's never, and don't worry about getting it done instantly. It's all a gradual process, and you can just do it over time. When you've got time, we've all got client works to think about. So let's get cracking. So first of all, finding new clients on LinkedIn. I've done it the same as before. I've just done a screenshot, and then I'm just going to talk around it. So any questions, pop them in the box. When you've got your clients, or maybe you're thinking about the clients that you want to work with, um, it, when you're looking at connecting with people on LinkedIn, have a think about your niche. Who are the people that you want to work with? Who are the people that you're targeting? Are you targeting people, in a specific area? Are you targeting people in a specific field? Um, and just have a think about, when you're using LinkedIn, just generally, that LinkedIn could be one of those 7 steps of communication. When you get a client. So, yes, you can get clients, instantly on LinkedIn, but also think about how it, fits in with that, that further communication with your potential clients. For example, I always say Twitter, Facebook. You can meet people at a networking meeting. We talked about that in the last session. Also at a conference, or people sign up to a newsletter. All that can combine with LinkedIn to make those people become clients. And also just generally about LinkedIn, your profile. We talked about the profile in the last session. Once you've got your profile up and ready, it gives people a much better understanding of what you do, and what services you provide. So once that's done, you're happy with your profile, or you're happy, obviously you do amend it as you go along. Once you're happy, you can really start thinking about connecting with people on LinkedIn, and really start building those relationships. So, as I said, you've got to think about who you're targeting, what's your niche. And I mean, it's hard. I mean, I panicked so much about my niche when I first started. I don't know, some of you, might be quite established VAs, but some might be new, new to LinkedIn. So just a hand up first of all. Have any of you ladies got any clients through LinkedIn already? No. Well, brilliant. Well, I really hope from this, from this session then, that you'll take some bits away and really start, working, with LinkedIn to get yourself some clients. So, first of all, I'm going to look at actually physically searching for people that you might want to connect with on LinkedIn to become a client. So this screen here, I'm just going to get this little arrow. This is when, if I'm searching for a person on LinkedIn, it gives you that option by the search box to have that advanced option. So just say, for example, that a lot of VAs work with coaches, they work with mentors, people like that, because they are all very busy individuals. They all have a need for having a VA. So uh, So when you're putting in your search criteria, which, here is just one I used for example, business coaches in Kent, um, it brings up various, this is one of my lovely clients here at the top, Sarah. It brings up a list. I mean, obviously, there's much more people in this list than you can see here. So I've just got a screenshot, but it brings up a list of people that you might want to connect with. So it shows you in first, second, and third degree connections. The first people you're obviously all going to be connected to, but what you might find, even though they're a first connection, perhaps you haven't actually spoken to them or met them. So do have a look at your first, connections on LinkedIn, because you might find that they're going to be, that particular client could be talking at an event, near to you soon. So you might want to just connect with that person, send them a message and say, oh, I've seen you're speaking at an event. It'll be great to, catch up with you after, just as an example there. So, you can go through your first connections and just start building on that relationship there. Then, if you kind of work through your first connections, what you can do is look at your second degree connections. So, I mean, I think everyone says it's, is it 6 degrees of separation or something? You'll always know somebody by someone that you're already connected to. So if you want to connect with someone who's a second degree connection, what you might like to do, and I think I've got a picture here on the next slide. So here, this is a gentleman here, Andrew Silito. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So here I can see that I've got a shared connection with Andrew, and that's Tony Phillips. I know Tony Phillips from a networking meeting I used to go to. I've had coffee with him a couple of times. So I would feel completely comfortable with perhaps, approaching Tony and saying, would you mind introducing me to Andrew? And, I'd like to speak to him, to see if my services can be of help. And then, what Tony would, potentially do then is, email both Andrew and myself and say, just connecting you two up. Jade would like to have a chat with you. Just kind of bringing in, so just kind of introducing you to Andrew. Tony trusts and knows me, so by having someone that is going to kind of sing your praises almost and really, big you up to somebody, say that you're really, worth speaking to, someone is much more likely to, just to have that chat with you or connect with you, whatever you might want to do initially. You might initially just want to connect with them and then, see what they do over, a period of time, and then you might like to speak with them. I mean, I think really only you'll know how you feel, what you feel comfortable with, whether you want to go in straight away for a phone conversation or whether you want to, just get to know them a bit and perhaps just, you could see what groups they're a member of and perhaps join some groups and just start, gently building that relationship. Both ways are fine. Um, so that definitely, I mean, if you can get someone to introduce you and recommend you, it will definitely go a lot further in, getting to actually speak to that person and hopefully then becoming a client. I just want to see, just going back to the previous slide, because I know I mentioned that you could reach clients whether they're in a certain area, perhaps you're targeting local businesses. In this box down the side here, when you're in that advanced search, it allows you to really narrow it down by, where their location, is. It even gives you an option, although because I've got a screenshot, it doesn't show me it all here. You can actually select, if you want to connect with someone within 10 miles of your postcode. So you can really drill it down and really, narrow your search. It doesn't seem so daunting and so overwhelming then. And what you can do if you want, if you've got a really good search that it's quite specific, you spent a bit of time working through where you want these people located, you can save the search. so you can actually go back to it every week, and just see if anyone new is now in that search criteria. I mean, there are new people joining LinkedIn all the time, so it's just an easy way to save a bit of time and to save those searches. So here, I just wanted to give you an example here. I know I was talking about someone introducing you to somebody who might need a VA. This is exactly what happened here when someone had contacted Paul, a gentleman that I know, to get in contact with me. So he then, he emailed us both, and then what I did was I just connected with the gentleman, and then I just sent him a private email, just saying, if you'd like to speak, please, here's my contact details. Let's put a call in. So that there, it just shows that it does happen, and when people start to know you and what you do and what you're about, they will know that they can actually recommend people who need a VA. And as I said in the last call, there are so many people that need VAs. So once people know what you're doing, it's only going to be a good thing. It's going to be a fantastic thing for your business. So we're just going to pop on. Oh, we've got a question there. How do you structure the first call after you've been introduced? Well, just from a personal opinion, what I would do is, email them and say, would you like to have a chat, about the services that I provide and, how they can help your business? And then they would always say yes, that would be brilliant. Then in that call, what I would tend to do is get a feel, get an understanding of their business. I would beforehand have perhaps just checked out their website just to, see what they do and to just quickly have a read of their, LinkedIn summary. But get them to explain their business a bit. It's always good to, let potential clients, talk about their business for a bit. Shows, really like willing and interest into them and what they do. And then what a lot of people do is they say, oh, what can you do? So then what I might do, kind of, if I've had a thought about their website, and if it's a client, say it is a coach, or someone that I already work with, a specific client like that, what I would then do is perhaps give a few examples of how I could help. So it might be personally, it might be that I perhaps write some tweets for them, that I manage their Twitter account, that I get their newsletter written for them, that I set up a newsletter. That's just personally things that I do. But then I tend to say, what do you struggle with? What are you struggling to find the time to do? And then let me take those off your hands, and between me and my associates, we can work together. And that would be the initial call. And then obviously you'd probably go on. I tend to have about 2 calls with people before they become clients. In that second call, we might go into a bit more detail, and then I'd send the contract across. That's just kind of how it's always worked. And of course, after that first call that you have, perhaps just send an email confirming a few bits that you've gone through. Perhaps confirm your prices, and say, once you've had a time to look at this, let's have a further chat. So I hope that's helped me there. So just a few more points when you're asking people to connect, in your network. When you're connecting with people, you might start to build up quite a lot of connections. And what LinkedIn allows you to do is tag your contacts. And unfortunately, you can't use these tags to like email a group. I couldn't email this networking group I'm a member of, which is a bit unfortunate. But what it does allow you to do is it does allow you, just I like to be a little bit organized, and I'm sure you will do too. it just allows me to group people, and you can, if you click this manage box up here, you can create your own tags. Just I think it just, if you want to keep in contact with certain people, especially clients and things, it's good to get them tagged so they're easy, you can easily identify them should you need to contact them. And just one more, just kind of still talking about the connect. I'm just going back a little bit here. Sorry about that. But when you're connecting with people, so say you're going to somebody cold, and I'm sorry, this bit I should perhaps put this bit further up. But if you're connecting with someone as a, you're not going to get introduced to them. Perhaps you don't know anyone that knows them, or you're just connecting with people generally. Always connect with somebody. It gives you an option. It says, do you know this person? Have you worked with this person? Or are you their friend? Always select the friend option, because you can put a description of how, why you would like to connect with them, or how you know them. And it just kind of gives that person a little bit of background, because some people might get loads and loads of requests to connect. So, I mean, something as simple as, dear John, we've been following each other on Twitter for a while now. I'd like to connect with you on LinkedIn to, just connect further with you. Something as simple as that will then make them realise, oh yes, I do follow that person on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and yes, as I do enjoy her tweets, I would like to connect with her on LinkedIn. Or it could be as simple as, oh, it was great to meet you at that networking meeting last week. It'll be great to connect with you, on LinkedIn. So by doing that, obviously without having that connection that knows you, that'll hope. I mean, I've never had it not work for me. That'll hopefully just, give them that kind of reason to want to connect with you. So once that's happened and you've connected with that person, then what you might like to do is drop them an email, a personal email within LinkedIn, just saying, thank you for connecting. Um, you know, and then kind of offer, if you want, it's, as I said, it's up to you and how you feel. But what you could do is perhaps say, would you like to, sign up to my newsletter? I share some fantastic tips, and I think they would really help, they would really help your business. Or you could say to them, would you like to have a chat about the services I provide? I help, a few people in the same area as you, and I'd love to, just share a few bits of information as to how I could save you time. Um, or you might have a specific tool that, by sharing this fantastic little tool that's free, um, by giving that 10 minutes of your time, you've then got them on the phone, and then they'll start to know who you are, know what you're about. Just for example, I mean, I use Evernote all the time. It's a fantastic tool that I have on my iPhone, my iPad, and my laptop, and I can sync up and I can write notes on there. So that might be something that I would say, I found this, great tool. Would you like to, would you like me to show you or just tell you a bit about it? So by doing that there, by, connecting with them initially, by then emailing them, and then by, in the future getting to talk to them or meeting to them, you're building that relationship with that person. And, with them, as I keep saying, hopefully becoming a client of yours. I don't know, just generally, just a bit of a side question. When you meet with clients, how many times do you speak to them before they become a client? Now, would you say if it's 1 to 2, just raise your hands? Or would Brilliant. Or would you say it takes more than 2? Perhaps 2 to 5, once you've, met them a few times and, spoke to them a few times. Brilliant. Well, by you doing if you're not using LinkedIn and you're doing this kind of, you're having this way of communicating with potential clients, you can transfer that onto LinkedIn, and use what you're doing externally when you're meeting people, or meeting people at networking events, by just taking that online and taking it onto LinkedIn. So any questions? No questions. Brilliant. So another way that you can get clients on LinkedIn, I don't know if you've all looked at the Who's Viewed Your Profile. Have you ladies ever looked at that section of your on LinkedIn? Just raise your hands if you have. Brilliant. Most of you have. So what you can really do, when you go in and look at the Who's Viewed Your Profile, have a look. I mean, it's going to be really a judgment call, because some people do connect with you, obviously, or look at their profile in the bid that you will become their client. So you always have to take that into consideration. But once you start using LinkedIn, what you might learn, what I've learned over time, is that some people look at my profile because they're interested in my services and they want a VA. So what I always do is have a look, and if it's perhaps someone that I think could be a potential client, I would do exactly that same process that I've just explained to you previously. I would perhaps connect with them with a personal message saying, thank you for looking at my profile. Would you like to connect with me? And then by then emailing them saying, no, I've seen you've looked at my profile, would you like to, have a chat around the services I provide? So really you're using the same way as before, but you've actually got someone who's looked at your profile and that is potentially interested in having a VA. And likewise, if you're already connected with that person and they're looking at your profile, just send that personal message. Because the thing is, don't feel, if people don't respond to you, it's fine. It does happen. Like, sometimes I think people might need a VA and they perhaps they don't email me back, and that's fine. But if you don't email them and you don't try and connect, then you don't know that they might be looking for that VA. They're kind of calling out for that first kind of step. They're looking at a few VAs and seeing what they offer. By you offering your time and chatting to them, it's definitely going to put you in a good stead compared to someone who perhaps doesn't do that. So I know that before, someone asked about the connecting with people and the rules. This was a question asked offline, just sent to me. I've never come across any specific rules, but what I would say with LinkedIn, it's not a numbers game. Really think about the people that you want to connect with, um, and link with them for a reason. For whatever reason that might be. They might be fellow VAs. They might be people that inspire you. There are various reasons, but you know do just think about who you're connecting with. And perhaps what you might like to do is that if you are going to take this approach into your business and start connecting with people who might need VAs, then perhaps do it in small chunks, because you don't if say for example business coaches know each other. You wouldn't want to kind of think, right, I'm going to email 50 coaches today. Not that I'm sure any of us would have time to do that number, but if you emailed that many, it might come across a little bit, I was going to say desperate, or something like that. So you might want to do it in small chunks. Do a couple at a time and see what the response is. Before you kind of move on, and continue with that in your kind of, I don't know, marketing plan, I guess you can call it. So I just wanted to, when you're talking about, connecting, oh, here, I didn't realize, so I forgot I had this slide here. I should have these slides in front of me, really. This slide here is just showing you when someone's looked at my profile here, I saw that Ben Parker, he's a third, third in line for connection with me. So what I could do is hit the connect button here. What I could do is add a personal message there and then send an invitation. So add that personal message, thanks for checking out my profile, or thanks for looking at my profile. Would you like to connect with me? So that just shows that. Brilliant. So I'm just going to ask, there's a quick question come in. So would you also recommend a cull and going through the contacts and deleting people that you can't remember who they are and they don't look useful? Well, definitely. I mean, I do go through mine sometimes, but I know one of my clients did, completely was just went through, and any person that she didn't connect with, she just stopped the connection with, and they don't know that I'm sure they don't know if you've unconnected with them. So don't worry about that at all. It would only be, of course, if they wanted to find you for whatever reason and you weren't connected again. But if you've never spoken to somebody on LinkedIn and you don't have any connection with them, yes, delete them. I mean, just maybe have a think about before you delete them, who are your joint contacts, because you might need to use that person in the future to get through to somebody else. But I mean, the thing is, some people do just connect. So definitely, look at those and do just unconnect with them. Okay, so carrying on. And just the other way, which of course we're going to go into more detail now, with getting clients on LinkedIn, is clients coming directly to you. Now, this happens via, putting great content out there, by having your profile, your summary, written, and so people can see what you do. And this personally is how I've got most of my clients, through them coming directly to me on LinkedIn. So once people have seen what you're doing for over a period of time, they would email you and say, I'm after a VA, can I speak to you, just to discuss further. And that's what happened with my lovely client Sarah there. I just gave you that one as an example there. So once that starts happening, you know that what you are doing on LinkedIn is just working really, really well. So that's kind of there, just gone through various ways in which you can get clients on LinkedIn. So just see what you feel more comfortable with. If you ever got any questions about a process that you want to use, you can always run it past me. That's fine. So next, I am going to just go on to groups. Oh, there's no, oh dear, terrible. Sorry, ladies. This is here. I was going to just mention this just to say, obviously, when you're connecting with people, that you might also want to connect with people who are associates to you, or so don't always think about the clients. Think about um, other areas that you connect with people. As I said before, about VAs and things. I connect with people like Lindsay here, who I've just brought up as an example. She provides call answering for my clients, and it brings me in extra revenue by putting my clients through her, call team. So I'm connected with her on LinkedIn. So just make sure that you have a think. Obviously, with VAs, we're very well connected. We have a lot of associates that we work with, and a lot of things our clients need. So make sure you're connected to them all. Sorry, I'm sure you will do that anyway. But so groups then. How many of you ladies are a member of groups and you write in them or you contribute to them on a regular basis? Just raise your hands while I have a glass of water. Okay, so with groups then, for those of you that aren't you aren't active in groups, what they really do is they show people that you know what you're talking about. Um, it's a really good way of, people always ask various questions. You'll probably find that you can answer, some of them in there, and then people start to know that, oh yes, Jade does know about this, and oh yes, I'll connect with her so that I can just see more about what she does. So if you're not a member of any groups at the moment, there's a few ways to think about it. First of all, you can think about your local area. Now, all groups are found in the search bar, the same as if you're searching for people, you can search for groups. So have a think about your local area. Are there any groups on LinkedIn for your local area that contain local businesses? Are there any VA specific groups? Well, there are tons, that's for sure. But that could be something that although you might not directly get a client from there, but when you put an update into a group, or a post into a group, it does go into the activity feed, so people can see what you're writing, which is always good. And have a think about your clients. Do you have clients in a specific area? Are there any groups that you can join that are in that area, that you can contribute to? So once you've had a thought about the types of groups that you want to join, what you might want to do is have a look at other, VAs or people who are influential in your area and see what groups they're a member of. Because if they're a member of a group, then it might be a very good group to join. So just have a think. And what I would always advise is join 2 or 3 groups and get a feel for them, see if you like them, and then you can decide whether you want to bring any more into the mix, or whether you want to leave a group because it's not that great, or there's not that many posts in there. And always check the group rules, because obviously I'm going to run through here with things that you can put, just ideas to post in groups and updates, not so much updates, but some groups do say you cannot self-promote. You cannot, you can't do that, which, although the things I'm going to kind of run through with you aren't really self-promoting, some groups don't even like your blog posts. So just check the rules when you join a group, and then you'll know for sure. And another way to find groups to join is have a look at on your home page. You'll get on the left hand, or sorry, the right hand side, there'll be, if you scroll down a bit, groups you might like. So LinkedIn, here we go, groups you might like. LinkedIn will choose groups that you might want to be in. So for myself at the moment, normally it kind of brings up some social media groups for me, but because the posts I've been putting on recently have been about this, this VA training, LinkedIn cleverly brings groups that kind of match what you write about and match your profile. And so the top group for me to join at the moment was Virtual Assistant Startup. So this is a group that I will actually join, because obviously, I'm going to be continuing doing training with the IAVA for VAs. So it'll be a good group for me to join. And it always shows you here members, that are in that group. So once you've got a group, then what you want to do is have a think about what you want to post. Have a look to see what else is being posted in there already. All groups are different. I mean, even the groups that I'm a member of, they're very, very different. So what you might think about putting in a group is, I don't know, so do any of you ladies have blogs? Just raise your hand if you have a blog. Some do, some don't. So if you do have a blog, that is fantastic content, and people will really learn from that content. So what you might want to do is take a paragraph of that blog post, one that's really informative, or perhaps create a bit of a discussion around your blog post. So don't just simply post your blog. Create a bit of a discussion around it, or really take out a bit that really gives people a bit of information. And I think here I've got, so here, for example, I posted a blog, but what I did was, rather than just posting the blog, what I did was I was actually asking for someone to be further interviewed by myself to feature in my blog. So I posted the one that I'd already done when I interviewed Robert, and then I kind of put, does anyone else would like to be interviewed? And actually Omar here, that lady, she then said that she would love to be interviewed, and I took that offline, and I interviewed her, which was brilliant. So just have a think around that then. Have a think around the content that you've got on your website. Really utilize it, and also look at other content that you've got. Sorry if you heard my doorbell go then. Really have a think around other content that you've got on your website, because some of it might be very useful and interesting for people who perhaps don't know what VAs do. So the next thing that you might want to promote in groups or put in groups is events. You might have come across a really great event that you would want your connections to know about. It might be a local, perhaps, business conference. Perhaps you're going to that business conference. You could put a post in there, and then you could say, is anyone else going to this conference, to this event? It'll be great to meet up. And also, what you want to do is respond to other people's posts. A lot of people ask questions that you would be able to answer. They're just asking for opinions, and even if it's something not business related, still, by posting in there, it just gets people to know that you're there, that you're replying, and when you start popping up every now and again, people will just start to, oh yes, I know Jade. Yes, she's posted in here before. And just going back to the benefits of the services that you provide, also have a think about what services you use for your clients. So, for example, I use Xero, which is an accounts package, and what I quite often do is I'll blog about it, or I'll write about it on LinkedIn. So I'd put a post on LinkedIn about my love of Xero and how it was so easy to use, and who is now my accountant saw that, and then asked me if I could have a quick chat with her about Xero, and then actually she went on to use it for her clients. Now I know that she obviously didn't directly become a client to me. I became a client of hers actually, but by doing that, by sharing information, by giving people useful things like that, it just builds that trust, and people get to know that that VAs really have an extensive knowledge and extensive connections. And also, when you're in groups, look, I mean, this is just one I posted for an example, but have a look at posts actually asking for VAs. I mean, here I asked, is there anyone who can, a VA who is an expert in shopping carts, which is something I'm still working on with one of my clients actually. But by doing that, I had quite a few I posted it in 2 groups, and I had quite a few responses as to people who can help me. So that person who's written to me, they could become, they could get work out of it. So always have a look for posts which are actually asking for a VA. What you also might want to, what you'd want to put in groups is you might have a free giveaway. I mean, do any of you ladies have a newsletter or perhaps a free giveaway on your website? Brilliant. So about half and half there. So for those of you that do, then that giveaway might be really useful to a specific group. So pop that in there. Say here is a free download if you'd like to receive it. Just either give me your email address and I'll pop you on my list, or put a link to your website. So people can do it themselves. That's personal preference. So that is definitely a way to bring people back to your website too. So obviously, as I said, check the group rules, but by putting things on there like that and with a link to your website, it then gets people to see, oh, this is Jade's website. And they might have another quick look around your website just to see what you do. So uh, you know so really have a think around how you can help people. And I'm sure that all of you use you know use programs for your clients, do things for your clients that would help other people. um so so if you want any I know things that you post are always very specific to you and your business, but if you are still struggling, always just let me know, and we can come up with a few ideas. But as a whole, if you're looking at what you're providing to your clients already, that will only be of interest to other people. Um, and then just kind of taking it that step further from showing your services, and really kind of telling people about benefits of programs that you use. A lot of groups really ask a lot of questions, which is fantastic. And there's this group that I'm a member of called Women Unlimited for Women Entrepreneurs and Women Business Owners. And it is such a fantastic group because the conversation in there is really, really diverse, and I really enjoy being a part of that group. So, for example, you might be researching an area of your business. So, once again, we're not always looking at directly getting clients, but people are starting to know you if you're writing in groups. So, here was just a couple of comments I'd put in this group, over the time. I was just interesting to see, how many hours were chargeable and not chargeable, and just there do groups on LinkedIn with too many discussions put you off. So as you can see there from the comments, they were really good discussions, and people enjoyed, what I'd written, and what I had, what I had kind of put as a status update there. And then, of course, what you can do, when people start to, respond to you on questions that you put in groups, you can always connect with them, and they can become that connection, to you. So, always have a look at that when people are responding to your questions, because you never know, they could be a really good person um, to connect with. And then, just going to whiz through now, so I'm looking at the time. And then also, what you might like to do with sharing content is have a look at LinkedIn Today. It's on the homepage, you'll see it there. Because people love discussing current news and current things that are happening. So this could be also be a very good thing to put into groups, to kind of get a bit of discussion around. And LinkedIn Today, it brings up stories which are relevant to you and what you do. It just cleverly does that, just from what you're writing about. So have a look at LinkedIn Today, and have a look at just general. If you're all on Twitter and there's a a news article that comes in from the Guardian that you might like to discuss that or pop that in a group, then do. I mean, people always like to share current news. So what I would say, kind of looking at groups, is find a couple that you like the look of. Whether one might be a client-based one might be a local-based one, and one might be a VA-based one. Have a look at them regularly. Try and pop in once a week if you can. I don't want to seem too overwhelming. I've only ever done it about once a week. You can do it more. Go into it regularly post in the groups. And what you could do is, keep a list of things that you'd like to share, because you might not want to share them all at once. Perhaps create a list, that you've got somewhere that, you might want to share things over time. Um, uh, yeah, just kind of add to that, by using Evernote, that tool I was talking about earlier, you can add to that note, add to that list wherever you are, which is always good. And I always keep my eye open in magazines that I read. If I read magazines that have got great stories in, I lift bits out of that story that kind of I can just get a discussion around, which is always a good thing if you read, women's magazines. So, any questions on groups? I'm just going to go on to status updates now. Okay, so status updates. With those, I know that, some people who are new to LinkedIn, it might seem like it's a bit, what do I put as an update? I don't really know what people want to know about. Well, the best thing to do is have a think around what you're doing. I mean, are you doing something like, personally, I do quite a few talks. So by putting, oh, really looking forward to the talk I'm doing for Maidstone Mums in Business on email marketing. What that would do is that would go into the news feed, and then if someone else needed a speaker, they would get in contact with me. So by putting bits of information like that on, it's always good. Now, if you've won a specific piece of work, you might just want to put that on there as a kind of for people just to say, oh, congratulations. You might want to give specific details, but by putting things about what you're good at, it plants a seed into people when they're thinking about what you can do. Have you just partnered up with a company? For example, I partner up with Call Team, with Capsule CRM, and with Xero and various other companies. Have you just partnered up with them? Well, write that as a status update with perhaps a small benefit of why you would use that service, because then by partnering with these companies, where you tend to get a bit of a extra revenue from them. If people are seeing that you're writing about them and they're good, they might be interested in them too. As I said in session 1, if you get a recommendation, put that as a status update, share your good news. And also, take some of that stuff that I was talking about in the groups and, put it as a status update, because everyone might want to, read about a really good article that you've found, a current news article that's, you found in a newspaper or you found online. By putting those out there, you're sharing information with your whole community then, with all of your connections. And also something that I know personally has been going down really well, with what I've been doing, is putting on the occasional tip, something that's going to save people time, something that's going to help people. And once again, have a think around the things that you do for your clients, and just start up a spreadsheet or something where you can record things that you might want to share with your LinkedIn community. Really give people something, rather than just saying, oh, Xero is a great accounts package to use. Yes, it isn't a great accounts package to use, but what you could say is, by Xero imports your bank statement, saving you time when you're reconciling. It's such a great system to use. So by giving them that bit extra, it just goes into that bit more detail. And what I would try and do with your status updates is do them. Well, try first of all to do once a week. I mean, I try and put 2 or 3 out a week. And what I do use is, do any of you use Hootsuite or another tool similar to that to schedule social media stuff? Raise your hand if you do. Brilliant, most of you do. So, I mean, what you'll probably find is you can just add in your LinkedIn to, to that program. I use Hootsuite, and it allows me to schedule in advance, which is just brilliant. What I tend to do is try and have some kind of a theme that I go by, so that I I'll put tips on certain things in certain weeks. So that's personal preference. I mean, sometimes I'll just share things. So I want to share it quickly, and I want people to see if I found a news article. But you can schedule in advance. So, and a question just come in about when you're putting an article as a status update, can you link that back to your website? Absolutely, of course. There's a space underneath for putting in your a URL that you want to put in. I'm just going to check that, because sometimes it just comes up if you paste it into. So, okay, sorry now. So if you put an update now, just copy a link directly into the update box, and it will then generate below a link that people see and they can click on. So yes, put a link back to your website, or put a link to whatever article you're talking about. Absolutely, definitely do that. If you can, even if you're sharing a program capture. I keep talking about the ones I use, but if you're talking about a program that you use, link to their website, because then it just gives people that opportunity to go in and see for themselves what you're talking about. Yes, so a question there that Jackie said actually about when you're connecting with people, you're unable to mention your website. You can't give any contact details, I don't think. I don't think you can give an email address either. So that's why when I connect with people, when I start connecting with people, I just ask them if they want to have that initial conversation. Because once you've done that, when you write people a personal inbox message, you can put links in there, although they don't turn into hyperlinks, so they can be clicked on, but you can give details in there. And of course, when you take that connection offline, off LinkedIn, you can always email them stuff as well. Oh my goodness, I will quickly go through. I knew there was, so I hope you've all enjoyed. I hope I've given you some good content today. I feel like I've been talking at 100 miles an hour. So first of all, here I just wanted to show Helen. She's an associate of mine. She just put some really good things onto LinkedIn, just helping people. The way that she works is very similar to myself actually, which is brilliant. And she just gives really great great tips for the people, her connections. So always have a look around what other VAs are doing. It's always a good helpful hint. So company pages, what you might want to do when I'm talking about content all the time, it's always about content and good content. There are a lot of companies on LinkedIn. I'm just actually getting myself into company pages. So probably watch this space, because I'm going to kind of have a play around with them, and then I'll do a session, at a future date on company pages for VAs. But when you're following companies, have a think around, as I keep saying, have a think around content that you're sharing, content that you're an expert in. Think about what you do for your clients, and follow companies which are giving information around that area, because then obviously what you can do when you're following a company, you can hit that little button there, you can share that content with your connections. So have a think about what your clients may like. Also follow your client. If your clients have got a company on LinkedIn, you want to always build that relationship with current clients. So follow their company, support them, comment on things on their company that they put on there. And of course, if you start to get into doing LinkedIn for your clients, if you see your client has got a company page, but they're perhaps not putting any content on there, you could say to them, "Oh, I've seen you've not managed to put any content on recently. Would you like me to find some content for you?" So that might get a bit of extra work, which is always good. Um, so yes, I mean, when I look at companies who I'm following, I follow companies like LinkedIn, like social media companies, plus clients companies, just to kind of have a look at, to just to give that extra information, and then you can put that into groups, or you can share it as an update. So you can then choose what where you want to share that content. Um, and as I said, setting up a company page, it's if your clients are interested in setting up a company page, it's a really good thing to do if you've got more than one person that works at a company and you want to keep people updated on positions and people within that company. If you've got specific information in different areas in that business, um, you can set them up from people. Personally, I only manage people's personal pages on LinkedIn. I do have as I said, I am going to start to learn it myself about company pages, but I do have an associate who knows a lot more. She's been working with LinkedIn company pages for quite a while now. If you have a client that wants to talk a bit more about it, just let me know and I'll put you in contact with Emma, one of my associates. So Linda's asked, what sort of content would you put on for a client? Again, it's kind of having a think around what you do for your business, and then have a think around what their target market is, what they do, what's their industry about, current news for their industry. You would then start to follow other people. If you're looking at working in a client account, follow other companies in their field, so you can see what they're doing. And it's always good to follow people. Never see it as competition. Obviously check with your clients first, but it's always good to follow a few people who are doing something similar to you. So really have a think around where their clients are. What groups would they want to what groups would they want to join? Have a look at their websites. Have they got really good content on their websites that you can share? So just break it down a bit, and really have a think of all the things I've kind of said for you. Just have a think about it, but as if you're in your client's mind, so to speak. Hope that helped there, Linda. So I think that's it now. It's literally 12 o'clock, so I'm gonna stop there. I'll promise to learn about LinkedIn pages, as in to set them up more. But really have a look around. If you're wanting to follow company pages, you can just follow them. It's it's not about setting them up. So really, just have a look at a few companies that you can follow. Maybe have an aim to follow 2 or 3 companies, to put out, one status update a week, and to join 3 groups. Just have them as your initial goals for LinkedIn, and also around, connecting with clients. Just start thinking about that and bringing that into your, your marketing strategy.